Hello, Stevie and Terry and Carolyn. How are you? All right. So hello. I want to talk about some housekeeping. This is actually my last live class that I'm doing on YouTube for Yoga for Wellness. And I don't know how long that'll be the case, but it's the last one I'm teaching for this session. Next week is off. And then I'm going to teach for Torrance Memorial, give this class back to them. So if you want to practice with me, if you live in Southern California, you could be live, and that's an option, or you could pay and do the online version, and it would be on Zoom. So you have to pay. It's either an 8-week session or a 4-week session, or on Zoom. And I will be live in the studio teaching. So some people will be live with me, some will be on this. So whether you're live with me now or you're watching this recorded, July 12th is when I will be live in person, and you'll have to sign up for these classes and pay through Torrance Memorial. It'll no longer be offered on YouTube. You could watch all the recorded classes, but that's what's happening, at least for right now. We'll see what happens with that. Yeah, and same thing with my Tuesday class, my Wednesday classes, and my Saturday class. So the only YouTube class that I will be doing live that you could tune into is Yoga Therapy for Osteoporosis from 11 to 12:15 Pacific Standard Time. All right. Michael, good morning. So I look forward, hopefully, to seeing Stevie and Michael in person. Carolyn, not sure if you're going to join us in person or not, but Stevie and Michael were always there. So I'm excited for the shift. We'll see what happens. And I'm going to be flexible, meaning we'll see how that all goes and see what happens. So let's see. And then is there anything that's going on this week for anyone that you wanted to address specifically? Or am I free to choose? So let me know if you have anything in particular you'd like to focus on. And yeah, anything in particular. So it's interesting because I usually don't like change in my life, yet I'm trying to be very fluid. And the word flexible is so interesting because with yoga, that's one of the things we work on. I think it's really important to have flexibility physically, and it's also important to have mental flexibility. So, all right, if there's not anything in particular, then I'm going to go back there. Let me make sure that my do not disturb is on, and I'm going to go a little bigger. All right, perfect. So let's do this. Let's get ourselves set up to practice. You may already be set up. I think I'll go to this side. And yeah, all right, so getting your props ready for the practice, blankets, strap and block, pretty important. I think today, actually, I'm not going to use my egg. I'm going to use my blanket because I love this one for spinal extension. And you do whatever you'd like to do. You could have your blanket on the ground and just let your body be on the floor. Gravity is going to help to do some kind of postural correction, some kind of alignment correction in the spine, which is great. And then if you'd like a little deeper, we're going to roll up the blanket, rolling up the blanket in a pretty tight roll so we can get some elevation of your body away from the ground, and then get a little stretch to come into the shoulders and the chest muscles, helping to correct posture. Let the blanket be up at the top of the mat. And then we're going to come down on doing a little breath work, a little present moment connection, mind and body, to be in the safe zone and in the noticing zone when we practice. So bring yourself onto whatever it is you're choosing today. It's your practice. I offer suggestions. Some of them may sound good to you, some not. So choose what seems appropriate. And then when you come down, especially if you're doing a little manipulation of your spine and your shoulders and chest, you may want to add a little movement. See how that feels for your body. You could keep your knees bent, or maybe you go right away into straight legs. And the wider your legs are, and the more the toes fall to the side, that's more relaxation for the pelvis and the hips. So just explore, what does your body want to do today? What feels appropriate for you? Coming into a stretch. And then bring your arms down alongside your body, wherever you come into. Something so you feel a stretch somewhere. And then let your body go. Let the weight of your limbs relax. Let the weight of your torso go, the weight of your head. So with the mind being really active, the more we can give the mind to do, keep it occupied with counting or focusing, that's a way to learn how to train your brain to relax, or to shift from the place we live all the time, the chronic stress place, which is the limbic loop, creating a lot of biochemical secretions of stress in the body, which leads to breakdown and disease over time. So stopping that process is important for health, for healthy aging, for wellness. So let your mouth be closed. Begin first to breathe in and out through the nose. Long neck at the back. Let your jaw wiggle back and forth side to side to relax your jaw. And then let your lips touch. Follow the breath from the nostrils into your torso, first bringing the breath to the heart. So let your awareness go there as well. So really feeling the somatic aspect and really firing up the part of your brain that is connected to your body and to feeling. So feeling the upper chest stretch with breath, mouth is closed, breathing in and out through the nose. And then see if you can bring the breath a little deeper. So bringing your awareness to the lower ribs and letting this part of your body expand up, out to the sides and back, right around the lower ribs. Mouth is closed, breathing in and out through the nose. And really breathe deep so you feel a stretch in your torso. And then breathe down below the lower ribs into the belly, all the way to where your legs attach to your body. Feel stretch and movement as the breath moves down to this part of your torso. And then for these last few breaths, breathe as deep as you can to the chest, the lower ribs, and the lower torso all at the same time, letting your body be stretched deep inside with breath. Feel it. And then let's use our mind and a breath to keep the mind focused on a shape, on counting, keeping the mind as occupied as possible. We're going to do Savitri Pranayama, which is a rectangular shaped breath. On the inhale, visualizing the long aspect of the rectangle, we're going to hold the breath for the side, the short side, exhaling for that long side, and then holding for that short side. I'll start with 4 for the inhale, 2 for the hold, 4 for the exhale, 2 for the hold, and then move up to 6 for the inhale, 3 for the hold, 6 for the exhale, 6 for the hold. Then you'll do that yourself. Savitri Pranayama, a great breath work to keep your mind busy. You could do this when you're walking, when you're cooking, really pacing your breath with this counting and visualizing the shapes or the sides of the rectangle. Take a big exhale. Let's begin. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2. Adding on. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3. Count on your own. Visualize the sides. Do the numbers that are appropriate for you. Stay with the counting, stay with the visualization. If you get distracted, guide yourself right back to counting and visualizing. And then finishing the breath you're on, take one more breath after that. Go slow, stay connected to the breath, the counting, the visualization. Giving the breath back to your body. Bringing movement into your body, your hands, your feet, your legs, your arms. Coming into whatever stretch feels appropriate. Let your body find appropriate. Moving your arms, feeling. And then bending your knees if your legs are straight. Take your feet wider than your body and let the knees fall in towards each other and walk the feet closer to the body. So this will relax your lower back. Take your arms, moving your arms overhead to touch, and then bring the elbows down towards the waist. Keep the palms up towards the sky. Inhale to overhead to touch, and exhale, arms down to your waist. And then bring your arms out to the side, unbending your elbows if you can, and then sliding your fingers up towards overhead with straight arms. Just whatever range of motion you could do, coming straight off your body and then overhead. A lot of things matter here. A lot of things are dependent on how elevated you are off the ground, the health of your shoulders, the flexibility of chest muscles and shoulder muscles, muscles that attach your arms to your body. Just do what you can. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your arms overhead. Take your fingers and move your fingers, palms facing backwards, and then palms facing away from you. Then open and close your hands. Roll your wrists in one direction and then in the other. So clearing any cobwebs or congestion that exists in the joints of the hands, the wrists. Then bend the elbows. Let's go to the shoulders. So coming onto your side, take that upper arm
Move the arm overhead and then roll the palm up towards the sky. This is when your inhale will begin. And then when your hand comes straight off of your body, this is when the exhale begins. When you come out in front of yourself, really reach away from yourself, but don't roll forward. So keep your body where it is. Reach away. See if you can feel that stretch in the muscles by the shoulder blades. And then you're going to go overhead. When you come overhead, roll your arm in the sockets and the shoulder joints. So the palm goes up, letting the arm go back on the inhale. When you come down, that's your exhale. So inhale overhead, exhale when you come forward. Biggest range of motion you could do here, freeing up that shoulder joint. Bring yourself back to center. Take your hand behind your head, elbows come towards each other. Exhale, squeeze the knees towards each other. Don't let the knees move apart. As you inhale, let your elbow come up, slide the shoulder blade towards the spine, and then open up here. Keep your knees together, bringing in some rotation into your trunk. Feel what's appropriate here. Exhale back. Inhale, let the shoulder blade slide towards the center. And exhale. And then one more inhale to open. Stay there. Stay here. Push your heart forward. Push your belly button towards your spine. Squeeze your knees together. Opening up, stretching. Take one more breath. And then we're going to go to the other side. So bring yourself up and over so that your knees are together in this direction. The blanket is behind your spine here. Take your arm overhead, turn your palm up. You inhale, reaching your arm away. Keep your arm straight. When you come right down off your body, that's when the exhale begins. Bringing your hand, when you come forward, reach your hand straight and away from you. Feel that stretch in the back, the muscles of the shoulder blades. And then when you come overhead is when your inhale begins. And then exhale. Close your eyes, feel this in your body, freeing up the shoulder, the rotator cuff muscles, the chest. Finish this movement and then take one more slow with your breath. And then bring your hand back to your head. So the hands are clasped. Squeeze the knees towards each other. Don't let the knees move. Exhale. As you inhale, elbow up, slide the shoulder blade towards the spine, opening up as much as you can using the blanket behind you, or even if there's no blanket behind you, exhale back to center. And then your last one, you're going to come here, push your heart forward, push your belly button towards your spine, lengthen your tailbone. Feel the stretch in your torso somewhere. Trunk rotation. Take one more breath. And then from here, we're gonna come up using the pushing muscles, pushing yourself away from the floor to bring yourself up, come all the way up. And then let's get the blanket. So that's a nice upper body stretch, really freeing up congestion that exists in the upper body, which is really probably honestly for all of us, especially as we're aging, that compressive force from above. I notice this so often in everyone that I work with, is how much this upper body plays a role in everything else that happens down below. So that whole beginning sequence, freeing up a lot of congestion, bringing a lot of mobility to your upper body. Let's come on to all fours. So this is a way to align your spine when you're in all fours. It's a way to add some weight to your wrists, which is important to keep them flexible and strong. Upper body strength as well. So see if you could point your pointer fingers forward, trying to get flexion in your wrists. And if you need to modify and support them, go ahead and do that. And then a gentle forward and backwards movement, warming up the glutes. And then that whole connection of low back, glutes, and hamstrings. Make sure your head doesn't flop here. And then bring yourself forward. Come on to fingertips. So you're on the fingertips. And then push your pelvis side to side like you're wagging your tail. Then bring your awareness to your tailbone. See if you could do circles. So as if you had a Sharpie marker and you were drawing on the wall behind you. Probably more like an oval shape. Warming up the muscles of rotation, the low back muscles, muscles that support your trunk. So stabilizing muscles. Go in the other direction. You're on your fingertips, strengthening your hands. And then bring yourself back to center. So let's stretch the spine from the crown of the head all the way to the tailbone. Puppy dog is a nice way to do this. Let's get the block, put the block down, and then take your hands forward. Start to bend your hip joint, let your toenails touch the ground. So start to bend your hip joint, keep your head lifted, and try to bring your low belly towards your top thighs. Tushy is in the air. And then come to where you can rest your forehead on your block. Arms are straight. Walk your hands a little closer together. See if that deepens the stretch. Maybe even to the point where they're touching the block. And then your tailbone, point your tailbone back and then slightly down the back wall to add a little posterior tilt to stretch those low back muscles. Take one more breath. So we're going to do a figure four. A figure four is this. We're going to keep the block there. We're going to do a pretty similar position to what we just did. Well, one hand is going to thread through like this. So we're actually rotating the upper trunk, stretching the upper back muscle. So one arm will be on the ground, forehead will be in the block, and we're going to move the other hand through and across the side. So coming back to the position you were in, take one hand straight. The other hand is, the head is on the block, and the other hand glides through, keeping the elbow off the floor, pushing the back of the hand into the ground. And then tailbone down the back wall to support the low back, a little flexion for lower lumbar. You could come up onto fingertips. Try to let your weight be back, so don't put a lot of weight into your head. Your head is just there for support. Press the arm into the ground. The arm that's going through is straight. You should feel this by the shoulder blades and in the upper back. And if you feel anything wonky in the neck, you could come off the block onto the ground. Make sure your pelvis is back far enough. Take one more breath. You're gonna bring yourself up and switch. So take the hand straight, hand goes through, head on the block. Press the arm into the ground that's going through, and that's gonna help to deepen the stretch behind the shoulder blades or in between the shoulder blades. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up, bring yourself all the way out. Take the block off to the side. Bring yourself up. Shake your wrists. And then shake your fingers. So we're gonna do a plank, which is a lot of core strength and a lot of front body strength. We're gonna do 2 planks. So we're gonna do the first one on our arms, if you can, and then the second one's gonna be a dolphin or a forearm plank. So just prepare yourself. So this is definitely gonna be a lot of strength. So pace yourself. If you're able to come up into the full version, you can do that. Otherwise, you can come into the modification with the lower legs on the ground, bringing yourself up into plank and then pressing yourself back so that you have weight in the hands and in the feet. Then if you'd like to do a little here, let's do a little stabilization. So bring your feet so that they're coming straight off your body if you're in the full version, even in the modification. And then take the leg up and out to the side slowly. Keep the integrity of your spine and torso where it is when you do this. So activating those stabilization muscles of the trunk, the support. And then the other side. Really strengthening the hip of the leg that stays on the ground. Bring yourself back, really pushing through the heels. Take one more breath. You're going to bring yourself out of that and let your heart rate relax. So come into whatever position is comfortable for you to close your eyes, to notice the activity and the energy in your body from using all those muscles, and use your breath to slow down your heart rate. Breathe all the way down to your pelvis. Slow down your breath. One more breath. And then open your eyes. So one thing I'd like to say, we learn so much when we're practicing yoga. We train our body, we learn tools, and we add stressors to our body, and then we manage the situation. So we learn how to adapt to the stressor. So with the plank posture, with a big strength posture, using a lot of muscles and accelerating our heart rate, and then taking the time out to slow it down, that also can come in handy with off the mat if you have anxiety, or you find yourself in a position where you have an accelerated heart rate because you're nervous about something, and realizing that, wait, I know how to slow my heart rate down. And so whatever mechanisms you use to slow your heart rate down here, breath is really the way, and that present moment
connectivity to all of these, to the actual act of trying to do that, then you could take that off the mat as well. So I don't really have a lot of anxiety, but I will say there are times that my heart rate's accelerated. I've definitely gone to my breath to slow it down. So let's do the forearm plank, taking the block in the widest it can be, bringing your hands like this, so like an L, you put the thumb and the pointer finger right against the block, and then we're going to come down onto the ground with this. So take your knees back so that your knees are back at the back edge of your blanket, and then bring your block forward so that your forearms come down onto the ground. Let the toenails flatten. So up to you if you want to flip the toes under and lift the knees off, or keep them on the ground. Push your heels away from you so that you're distributing the weight in the lower body and the upper. Push your feet into the floor, really take on some of the body weight. And then push your forearms in, push into the block. Walk the feet a little closer if you'd like to do a little stabilization, and moving the leg out to the side. Push through your heels, push away from the ground. Take one more breath. And then bring your pelvis onto the ground. Make sure your pelvis is on your blanket so that you have your hip bones supported. Your block is still between your hands. Push into your block, push your forearms into the floor. Push your heart forward and away from the floor at the same time. So you feel a stretch maybe right by the lower ribs, stretching the top part of the core. Exhale. As you inhale, slowly look up and to the side, trying to look back towards your heels. And then back to center. Inhale, look up with your head and back. Go slow. See if you could feel that deeper stretch right underneath the ribs on one side, the opposite side of the direction you're looking in. So top part of the psoas. One more each side. And then bring yourself back to center. Let's walk the arms over to the right. So walk the arms over to the right. You have the block diagonally in the front right corner of your mat. Push your arms into the floor. Push your heart forward. Push away from the floor. See if you could feel that stretch on the left side. Top part of the psoas here. Breathe down to your belly. And then push your pubic bone into the ground to help manage any extra tension you're feeling. Look up. Take one more breath. And then we're going to go to the other side. So you're doing a lot of deep abdominal stretching. Make sure wherever you come to, it feels appropriate and you're in your body to feel, to notice. Push your hands into the block, push down into the ground, push your heart forward and away from the ground. Deep breaths. Let the breath help too. Let the breath go to where you feel the tension. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Take the block off to the side. Hands are underneath in a Sphinx posture. Take your legs a little wide here to take tension out of the low back. And then Lengthen your spine, lengthen your torso as you bring yourself down. Take your elbows wide and the hands as far away from you as possible with the elbows wide like this, and then let the forehead rest on the back of the hands. Bend your legs and let your legs gently, slowly move side to side. So you may have tension in the low back there from that back bending sequence and stretching the abdominal area. See if we could bring some relief. Breathe down to your low belly. And then bring yourself back to center. Let your legs go straight. Forehead is here. Press your elbows into the ground and lengthen them away from you as much as possible to the sides and away. Exhale. As you inhale, let your nose come forward like you're pushing a marble away, bringing some extension or back bend into your neck. Then push away from the ground. Let your torso move away from the ground as much as it can in this position. And then exhale to lower. Go slow and let your awareness be in your back to feel your back muscles contract as you inhale to lift. And then lower. The support, the upper back muscles, the muscles along the center of the spine that support your spine, support your upper body. See if you could feel those. Keep your eyes closed. What do you feel in your torso when you do this? And then do one more. Come up and hold. Stay here. And on your next exhale, lower down. Let your forearms go out to the side so that the elbows are right in alignment with your underarms. Palms are spread, pressing down towards the ground. Lift your head up, lengthen the back of your neck so that your nose is pointing straight down towards the ground. Let your forehead come down towards the ground. Exhale. As you inhale, imagine you're pushing the marble away with your nose, letting your head come up first, pushing your arms into the ground. Lifting your torso as far away from the floor as you can. Feel the muscles in your back work to do this, and then exhale to lower. One more. Come up and stay up. Push your pubic bone towards the ground, arms into the ground, push your heart forward. Feel your back muscles activate to lift you up in this extension or back bend position. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Now you're going to take your hands, you're going to spread your fingers, you're going to have your thumbs on the mat and your fingers are off. And you could either be at armpit height or a little higher. Some of you may need to be a little higher. We're going to come into Cobra. So some may need to be a little higher, or if you have a flexible spine, you could come closer to your body. We're going to come into the Cobra. Or closer to the armpit height. Take your hands, spread your hands, forehead on the ground, nose touches the ground, toenails touch the ground. Exhale. As you inhale, slowly moving the nose like you're moving a marble away, bringing yourself up and then slowly down. A little more intense here, a little more muscular action in the Cobra. Let it be the back muscles that draw you up. So feel everything in the back. Push your pubic bone towards the ground to protect the low back. Push your hands down into the ground, draw them back as you come up. And then one more, we're going to come up and we're going to hold. Stay here. Take your hands off for a second. If you did lower down, go down to where you're lowered. So you want this to be your back that's working, not your hands. Push your hands into the ground, lengthen, stay here, slide the shoulder blades towards each other, heart forward, pubic bone into the ground. Cobra. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself down. Take your hands out to the side. Take your legs wide. Bring your feet up. And let your legs be pretty wide here. And let it be gentle, the side to side movement. So let it be a passive movement at the hips so that you relax low back tension. And then bring yourself back to center. Forehead is on the hands. Breathe to your lower belly, below the belly button. See if you can push away from the ground with the breath, breathing down low, and see if you can bring relief to the low back. And take one more breath. Bring your hand long, come onto your side. So when we do the back work like that, we are working the back muscles. And there can be a lot of tension in the lower back. So finding what's appropriate for you when you do this, making sure you don't poke the monster if you do have low back issues, going in the range of motion that's appropriate. And then bring your hand onto the floor, pushing away, bringing yourself up. Come on to all fours to let your spine go to a neutral. Take your tailbone and turn your tailbone around in a oval type pattern, especially on the down part. Or maybe if your low back is really bothering you, you can imagine you're drawing a line down the back wall and then go side to side with that line. So coming into lower lumbar flexion and then stretching the muscles of the low back. So either in an oval shape or in posterior tilt and going side to side, and then switch directions. Whatever you need to do to stretch the low back muscles. And then bring yourself back to center. So I'd like to stretch the low back, the space in between the lower ribs and the top of the pelvis, Little challenging if you have osteoporosis because you want to make sure you don't shorten the front of your spine. And when we do lumbar flexion or bring that into the thoracic, it can actually put too much tension in the front of the spine. So this next move, turtle, is not for osteoporosis or those with osteoporosis. If you have osteoporosis, the best way to stretch your back would be to be in the puppy dog, where you have your spine nice and long. So osteoporosis does puppy dog. Not osteoporosis, you could do turtle, where you come into this position, hands come down onto the ground, feet a little closer together. Hands come down onto the ground, they go underneath your hands or underneath your legs. You could either do this for turtle, or you could bring the soles of the feet together and do a little bit like that. So the goal here is that the space between the lower ribs and the pelvis is being stretched. And if you push your hands into the ground, push your legs into your arms, you can actually feel like you're pulling your rib cage away from your pelvis, pressing your sacrum down towards the ground, tailbone down towards the ground. And or you could even come into a lengthening in your spine and then a flexion forward at the hips. So finding in your body, where do you feel the appropriate stretch for you? So long spine from tailbone, especially stretching the space in between the pelvis and the ribs. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself up. Soles of the feet together in a Baddha Konasana position. If your hips are really tight, you may want to elevate yourself by folding your blanket and sitting on your blanket. Or if you're able to sit on your sits bones and do this, you could try this. So each movement has an intention. Here we're stretching the adductor muscles that attach onto the inner knee joint and onto the pelvis. Really important for lower body health and happiness. So for hips and knees, take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way out, all the way up. Let's do a stretch of the lower portion of the psoas, because we did that for the upper portion. We did a lot of upper part of the psoas stretch and a lot of upper body. Let's stretch the hip flexors. Your psoas attaches to your lumbar spine, all 5 vertebrae. For some people, it's at the thoracic as well. So right here, comes through the pelvis, attaches to another muscle here, and then into the inner leg bone. So this is one of the muscles that's known as the hip flexors, also the back of the core, and has an effect on the lumbar spine. So let's stretch the lower portion of this, and lunging is the best way to do this. Get your block, bring your right leg forward, walk your right foot pretty far forward, and if balance is an issue, walk your right leg over to the right. Take your hand on your right thigh, bring your block forward, and then bring your body forward. So your pelvis has to go forward so that back leg stretches. You feel that stretch in the back of the hip. So coming forward, staying here on the block. Stay pretty high here in this lunge. You can get a pretty deep stretch in the hip flexors. Deep breaths, mouth closed down to your hip. Push that front heel into the floor, long spine. Take one more breath. Let's turn this into a little rotation. So your hand is on your thigh, your hand is on the block, just turning your heart over the front leg. So you could turn your heart over the front leg, or you could take your arm onto the outer front leg, hands together, and rotate your trunk this way. So just whatever feels appropriate for you. Let your body weight be moving towards the ground. Long spine, rotation. Take one more breath. And then you bring yourself out and then all the way out. We're gonna go to the other side. So that was right leg forward. Not sure if you all did that, but now left leg comes forward. Block is forward, hand is on the thigh, bringing your pelvis forward. So don't let your pelvis hang out back there. Bring your pelvis forward to stretch the right hip flexor, the right psoas. Long torso. Take one more breath. And then to add that rotation, either staying here, long torso, turn your heart over, or on the outside of the leg, hands are together, long torso. Take one more breath. Bringing yourself back and all the way back up. Block off to the side. Let's move our blanket to the top of the mat. For those that can do a squat, this is a great low back release. Take your legs wide. You could put your blanket underneath your heels. Take your arms on your inner knee joint. Hands are together. Bring your hands closer to your body. From here, let the pelvis be heavy. Let the tailbone move down. Keep your spine, the front spine, nice and long. I know not all of you can do this with your knees, but those that can, try it. Great relaxation for pelvic floor, for the spine, inner thighs, kind of really shows up for you some of the areas you may need to work on for increasing your range of motion. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. So we're gonna come down onto the ground for the rest of the practice. Bring yourself down. Always feels so nice to finally get down to the ground. Let everything relax. Feel the low back settle here. Feel the pelvic bones settle. Draw the knees into the chest. Bring the legs in the air and shake your legs, shake your arms. Bring your awareness to your feet. Inhale, point your toes. Exhale, flex. Point and flex. And then circles. In one direction and then in the other. Long neck. And then draw the knees into the chest. Grab your strap. Take the strap onto both feet. And then come just a little wider than your body. Just a little wider. Soles of the feet are up towards the sky. And then guiding the legs back. So you can have your knees bent here or not. I'd like you to feel this. You're going to feel it in hamstrings, maybe in glutes, maybe in low back. Wrap your hands around your strap. So drawing the legs back, try to get the stretch to go down towards the low back area, towards the glutes. Keep your soles of your feet up towards the sky. Push into your strap. Long neck.
And then bring your legs straight. So straighten the legs this time. So maybe yours are away from here because to get straight, that's where you are. Wherever you are, you are. And then guide your legs back straight. Takes it a little lower down to the glute area, maybe low back. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself out. Take your legs wide. So we're trying to take some tension and relief into the low back. And stretching these muscles can help do that. Soles of the feet are up towards the sky. And then bending the knees, bring the knees towards your armpits. Soles of the feet stay up towards the sky. And the legs go back towards the wall behind you and down towards your armpit. Long neck. Breathe down to your belly. Take one more breath. Bring yourself up and out. Strap off. Knees into your chest. Soles of the feet onto the ground, hands on your belly, close your eyes, feel your body, feel your low back, noticing what you notice. So let's end the practice with some deep twists, which can help to stretch the low back. Bring your block into your left hand. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your pelvis up. Keep your rib cage where it is. Push your pelvis over to the right. And then draw the knees into the chest. Put the block between your knees. Arms are to the side. And slowly allow your knees to go to the left. Try to keep the shoulder blades on the ground. And if they do come up, they feel like they want to pop up, you may need to put the block underneath your legs, determining for you what's appropriate so that your knees can face to the left and your heart can face straight up towards the sky. Breathing down to your belly, and then if you'd like to take your left hand on top of your right leg, you could do that. Stretching that right hip, right side, right low back. Breathe down to the right side. Let your head roll to the right. So your head is to the right, and then direct your breath to the right. Breathe to your belly. Breathe to your low back. Breathe to the right side. Feel that stretch in the right low back, right hip. Take one more breath. Then you're going to bring your knees back up to center. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your pelvis up. Let your pelvis go to a neutral position. Take the block in the right hand. Push your feet into the floor. Lift your pelvis up. Push the pelvis to the left. Keep the rib cage where it is. Draw the knees in. Block wherever you need it. You may need it, you may not, as you let your knees go to the right. Head to the left. keeping your rib cage on the ground, heart up towards the sky. Bring the right hand on top of the left leg if that's appropriate for you. Let everything go, lengthening the left side of your body, the left lower back, breathing to the left side. Keep your mind in your body. And take one more breath. Bring yourself back up to neutral. Push your feet into the floor, bring your pelvis up. So the blanket is back behind your head. Make sure the blanket is not a very big fold. So if it's really folded a lot, either lower it, take it away, or either lower it or take it away. We're gonna do a supported bridge posture to stretch the low back one more time to bring the blood flow up to the heart. You're gonna push your feet into the floor, take your block. So when you put your pelvis on your block, try to tilt your pelvis backwards so that the top edge of your pelvis touches first, and then you roll to your sacrum and tailbone. You might feel some deep stretch in the pelvis here. Take your hands on your hip bones. Push one hip bone at a time towards the ground. And then let your arms go out to the side like scarecrow arms. Deep breaths down to your belly. This strengthens the core. The top part of the core gets strengthened here as well, pushing up against the contents of the belly. Finishing up your last few breaths. You're going to move off the block, bring your blanket back behind your head or fold it more if you need. For Shavasana, final rest, letting everything that you did today integrate into your body. Govinde, Mukande, Mudare, Apare, Hariyam, Kariyam, Yaname, Akande, Govinde, Mukande, Mudare, Apare, Hariyam, Kariyam, Yaname, Akande, Govinde, Mukande, Udare apare, Hariyam Kariyam, Ninname akame, Govinde Mukande, Udare apare, Hariyam Kariyam, Ninname akame, Govinde Mukande, Udare apare, Hariyam Kariyam, Yaname Akame, Govinde Mukande, Udare apare, Hariyam Kariyam, Yaname Akame. Gently begin to deepen the breath. Start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Embedding the knees, drawing the knees closer to your body. Let the left hand hold on to the top of the left knee. The right hand on top of the right knee as you draw the knees into your chest. Arms are straight. You're holding onto your knees from above. Palms are on top of the kneecaps. Fingers are pointing down to the toes. Inhale, arms are straight. Exhale, slowly draw the knees into your chest so that your pelvis tilts backwards, low back presses into the floor. Inhale to straight arms. Exhale, knees to chest. Press the top thighs against the low belly, low back into the ground. Inhale, straight. Exhale, draw them in. Inhale, straight. One more. Exhale, draw the knees into the chest. Let your hands go around the sides. Draw the knees in deeply, rocking side to side, massaging your low back. Coming onto your side. Bring your hand onto the ground, pushing yourself up. Closing your eyes. Bring your hands together at your chest. Push your heart to your hands, hands to your heart. We'll close the practice with sound, a gentle humming sound. Let that go all the way down to your low back. Vibrate, release, soften. Exhale. Inhale. Hands up to the forehead, bowing forward in gratitude for the practice, for this opportunity, for the spaciousness created in your body today, the strength, the flexibility, the range of motion.
We say thank you, or you could say namaste. Hands back to your heart. Bring your awareness to your eyelids as you allow them to blink themselves open. A practice like today had a lot of back work, whether we were strengthening or lengthening the back. During the practice, we could feel aggravation in the back, and then hopefully all the release work at the end took that tension out. Quite often, after a practice like today, when you get up, you may feel more free in your low back. And if it's not the case, then modifying the practice when you're doing it, being very in tune into your body to know what are your edges, where should you be going in your practice, especially when we're using the back, either strengthening or lengthening. All right, so that was the last Yoga for Wellness on YouTube for now. Going live in 2 weeks. And if you want to join, if you missed already, at the beginning of the class, you have to sign up online. All that information is on my website. You have to sign up through Torrance Memorial because it's no longer going to be my class. It's going to be theirs. All right. Any questions? Oh, scheduling conflicts. Okay. Great. Yeah, Stevie, the group that would come on Wednesday to my Yoga for Wellness typically had back issues. So that's why I focus a lot in this class on back. And we all have a back. So something we all need to focus on. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. And I will see you when I see you. Hopefully in person or on Zoom if you sign up through Torrance Memorial. Have a great day.